What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Astra Vibe Show. My name is Malik Harris.
My name is Derek Moore.
And this is where you come to
Vibe with the Tribe.
Today we are watching Warhammer
What's the
Timeline. Warhammer Timeline 40k Universe by Trazyn. I think that's how you said it. Trazyn the Infinite. I never know. I've seen his name. I've been looking into the Necrons heavy. And I'll see this name pop up all the time. And
I'm not even going to try it, bro. I'm dyslexic like I'm a Trazyn.
Yeah, we'll figure that out later. But yeah, I've heard about. We've already went through the timeline once with Bricky. That was like I think our first video was the timeline. Yeah. First lore diving video. We did like Astartes, part 1 or 1 through 5, and then Astartes 2. We did what's the fucking secret level. Video that they did, Warhammer video. We did a bunch of different things. We went through a bunch of trailers and things like that, and then we jumped into like the legions. We jumped into all of the factions, and now we are doubling back because we kind of had some time in between the first timeline when we didn't know anything, and now we've kind of jumped into a bunch of good stuff. We bought video games. We started coloring figurines and stuff like that for those who've been tracking the journey. So now we're bringing it full circle, trying to get someone else's perspective. I know Bricky also has his timeline re-explained where he talks about Votan and other things like that and just readdresses everything. So we'll probably do that too with Mac, who is usually here with us. You know what I mean? So we'll get 3 pass-throughs, you know what I mean? But right now I figured me and Derek can kind of just get ahead a little bit. This one's only 40 minutes, so it's a little bit shorter. The other one's like 2 hours or something like that, hour 30, hour 45. So yeah, man, I just kind of want to lock this in a little bit, we can get an edge on Mackie. Mackie was misleading us in the first episode. He was telling us all kinds of stuff, and it was crazy. So now we just got to leave him in the dust. But yeah, we're not going to say too much stuff. Check out the hat. Whole lot of heresy going on. Whole lot of heresy. All right, let's jump into this episode, then we'll see what they have to offer. We do take notes, by the way, because our writers write our own comic books and things like that. And, we're also just like going back over some of the topics and, deciding what we want to dive deeper into and all that good stuff. So don't mind us. Don't mind us.
My life's work, my museum, our gallery. Within these halls sits the galaxy's most comprehensive collection of artifacts in existence. I have spent my long years cataloging the entire culture of all the beings I could, from the dawn of time to the present day. Within these halls are libraries containing the last known words of countless races who have been cast to the harsh, uncaring winds of time.
Man.
Truth be told, there are more galleries in my museum than a mortal could wish to visit in several lifetimes. Each hall is dedicated to a great empire and their achievements, but also their faults and inevitable demise. The history of the universe is filled with such empires, their names forever carved on the steel of time. There are others who accomplished little with their gift of life, their existences being short, painful, blighted tales. The tales of history are only reserved for those who earn the right to write them. I will show the halls of my library to guide you on the story of all of time.
This is dope.
As we start from the dawn of all existence.
So what?
If it's gonna be like this, I'm gonna just write notes on breakies. Pay attention to it.
I know this feels like it's a lot more like cinematic. Bricky's like more like kind of fun, silly.
Density, temperature.
And this feels like National Geographic or something.
Yeah.
Initiating the expansion. Primordial gas and cosmic dust sent into eternity to become everything we know or ever will.
Y'all know about the Big Bang?
This shit's dope. I love space. Study of space.
Love space, scared of space. Love space.
Gravity is the key to it all. Gravity birthed the stars. It connects the galaxies, guiding them in motion to their inevitable orbits. That haunting cosmic ballet played out over infinite millennia, forever churning in the restless flow of time, locked in the embrace of gravitational unity. Vast ages of time pass. Ancient evolution forms in the stars. Gravity guides worlds beyond count into existence. As the stars collapsed and more were driven into the infinite, impossible happened.
War.
The first true life in the universe emerged, victorious, in an arms race of evolutionary barbarism. I suppose I should introduce the Immaterium, the Sea of Souls, the Ether. It has many names. However, it is generally referred to as the Warp, an alternate dimension that has existed as long as the universe itself. Made up of pure psychic energy and raw emotions, the Warp is endless, unpredictable, and terribly dangerous to those who cannot harness its power. The first conscious life was the star vampires, self-aware entities that appeared in the void between nowhere and nothing. Beings of great power that consumed the energies of stars, feeding on the life force of the planets themselves. These parasites do not differ from any life in the universe. All life desires the same outcome: energy consumption and safety for their offspring. They would, with time, be known as the Catan.
I was wondering if that was the Catan.
The cursed reptilian Old Ones scraped their primal forms onto the shores of worlds, long dead before even we Necrons evolved to stand upright. The first true sentient beings to cross the vast reaches of the galaxy. They were the first to climb the long trail of evolution and self-awareness. Their ceaseless advances placed them at the top of the pyramid in this galaxy. They traveled through the stars like dust travels on the breeze, and even built what younger races would call the Webway. Through the Webway, the Old Ones seeded life on hundreds of worlds. In their wake, they birthed countless untold species and cultures.
It's like an express bus or express train.
Life was cruel to our species. I need not tell you that. Evolving upon a cursed world, falling victim to the scorching heat of our nearest star, withering our bodies and lives.
We are going to be pausing, just so you know. We're pausing, talking between instead of just going through the whole... We're actually getting through this whole thing. It's so engaging, low-key, that I'm just like... You know what I mean? I feel like in a Bricky's video, I'm like, wait a minute, what did he say? I'm like rewinding and pausing. Yeah, I feel like this is so digestible.
Yeah.
I honestly could let this run through.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do that. I want to see that timeline. I think it said like 13... It went from like, what, 13 billion BC to like 13 million something? Or 16 million?
Life was cruel to our species. I need not tell you that. Evolving upon a cursed world, falling victim to the scorching heat of our nearest star, withering our bodies and lives. Our suffering evolved our culture and history. We built our empire despite the struggle and endless pain. We were worthy of the gifts the stars had shown to the others.
Oh, remember when we were watching the other one and I was like, oh, I've never seen like them with skin or anything. I was wondering if they were like skeletons.
Yeah.
But now you can see they're like...
They have some type of
creatures.
skin, but they're still like skeletal looks. Like, you know what I'm saying? No nose, like
Yeah.
It's almost like their skin is like deteriorating almost.
Yeah, and it makes sense when they're talking about the planet weathering them and drying them out and stuff like that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I wonder if this is still after they've been like weathered and dried out. You know what I mean? I wonder if they still had another look before then. Again, you guys always help us out with all these details. I know there's some OG fans. We've only been diving in for really diving in a couple months, maybe. Yeah.
Even in adaptation,
Yeah.
Weather, your environment, you probably evolve into what you're supposed to evolve into.
Yeah, I want to see their original form.
Yeah.
Our leaders met with the Old Ones. We begged for the cure to death, to show us the secrets of immortality. They refused us, refused our desire for life. And in their ignorance, they doomed themselves.
Damn.
There was no choice for us.
Oh, I need that
We raged war against the tyrants. Countless generations ground to powder beneath the heel of the greedy and the vicious.
Mark my words, I'm gonna have this shit.
Even with our
Necron
unified
should have
empire,
this
even
year.
with the might of countless worlds and millions of genius warsmiths, the strength of our dynasties was not enough to defeat the Old Ones.
I like how they're telling
war
it
was
from like
lost.
this dramatic,
The greatest defeat being that we were still cursed to
more like
weak,
emotional
frail
perspective.
lives.
Hell yeah.
The Old Ones banished us to the edges of the galaxy.
Yeah.
They forced us into exile on our home world. It was then that the Catan came with their offer. The ancient beings of the cosmos had appeared. They came as gods, promising the gifts we desperately sought. We were all fools to believe them. Our Catan came with their
This
offer.
is where they got tricked.
The ancient beings of the cosmos had appeared. They came as gods, promising the gifts we desperately sought.
Oh my god, that looks just like Demon Ghost in the new comic book that I just put out.
Yeah.
Literally looks exactly, or not exactly, like they were pretty fucking close. That's crazy. I gotta say it in this video before I put out my comic and people are like, damn bro, so you're just gonna copy Warhammer?
Yeah, there's not no copying shit,
man.
okay?
Demon Ghost,
Great
Mega
minds
Ghost.
think alike, okay?
This shit probably came out.
But nah, rewatching, watching the timelines again, grasping the stuff that I already kind of like semi know.
Mm-hmm.
I like to see this now, like the timeline before they sit up there and backfire and flip it back on the Shastai. Am I saying that right? Shastai. Because they're coming to them with the offer, right?
Yeah. Is that I forgot what they're called, but I know what you're talking about. The gods. And
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, and then they basically make them slaves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We even dive into so much fucking lore.
The
Like,
Catans.
Catans are the gods that they're talking about right now.
Yeah, but I think they're the ones that they tricked them into it. They didn't sit up there being slaves, but then it backfired.
Yeah. Okay.
Just piecing it together is what
I
I'm
see.
trying to say. Like,
I know we have so many
grasping things, putting it together. That puzzle piece I be talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Just having the edge pieces and putting it together, and just like, man, I know this now. Now the timeline gonna stick. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So
I kind of like now that we're looking at maybe it's easier to digest because we've went through so much other stuff, but I really feel like this is it's slowing everything down, giving direct visuals. I kind of wish we would have watched this first because Bricky's stuff is very fast, like changing. He's talking quick. He's throwing jokes in there. Now I see what people were saying as far as like his content. His content's entertaining if you're a newcomer, and it's also informative, and it's a lot of information. But I feel like this is like if you just want to really just get a quick little cool history lesson and like digest it all. I feel like this.
Yeah. Bricky, I also feel like he giving information, but he's appealing to a fan base that's already there.
Exactly.
And then people are probably going back there to recheck their sites and shit, refreshing their memory. It's just a quick
Same
like,
way
oh
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
After the agreements were signed, our people were put in chains and marched into the furnaces. As our flesh and blood was ripped from our bodies, we became the machine. We were betrayed. The Catan. Those traitorous sun-eating dogs feasted on the souls of a whole race, an entire culture.
Fuck that.
How tragic then that the ambassador for the Catan was named the Deceiver, but our translators misunderstood and believed its name was the Messenger. The God War, the breaking of the void, the war in heaven. 5 million years of hate and flame. The Old Ones were driven back by the combined force of the Catan and us, their steel slaves. Wherever we Necron tread, life fades like a distant spark in a cold night. The Old Ones, those fools, they grew desperate, creating the Eldar to help them in their losing war. A race of decadent, hedonistic artists to fight steel gods. Fools. They created the fierce Krork, a species that thrives on war and the desire for war. Little did they know of the plague they were creating. And on a small habitable world, it was said that they also seeded baseline primate life. As the last defense strongholds are on the verge of collapse, after we have flayed the minds and spirits of countless Old Ones.
Timeline-wise, and this is for, oh wait, never mind. Okay. Sorry. Fuck, there's so many years of history. I was about to ask if this is like Warhammer Fantasy Age of Sigmar, but I think that's 30K, right? I think that's like 30K or something like that. And you guys can, maybe correct me. I don't know if they're gonna, because I remember we watched the timeline. Oh wait. Oh, Age of Strife. Yeah. Okay.
Sick.
Horus Heresy, Siege of Terra. Yeah, I don't remember when we watched the first time. Maybe I just didn't notice it because we weren't really aware of everything. But yeah, I was just trying to like place Warhammer Fantasy, Age of Sigmar, and then 40K. But I imagine, I think it might be like 40K, 30K, all within that time period. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong.
They formed their last doomed battle line. As the Old Ones were pushed into oblivion, Zarek, the Silent King, led our armies against our slave masters. We turned on the Catan. The Catan were weakened by the war against the Old Ones and the threats of the Eldari and Krork armies. The Catan was shattered, defeated and placed in our stasis chambers, made to watch from containment as the race they sought to enslave freed themselves. The mighty Catan were not much more than prisoners, forced to watch us live on despite their evil desire. Weakened from the wars, we faced the new threats of the multiple upstart races, the Eldari, the Krork, and so many more. The Silent King decided our fate. We were to wait in silence as our armies rebuilt. We need not fear time like our puny carbon-based enemies. It is during this time the Eldari developed their technology at an exponential rate, becoming the dominant force in the universe. It seemed they had advanced their species to immortality. But how long could they sustain their own desires? I admit, I am partial to the Eldari. Their great works are unrivaled. Their ability to will a world into being is haunting. We must speak about the so-called human element, as their empires take up many halls of my museum. Though sometimes unhinged and unpredictable, they are interesting and present true promise for us. We will cover much of their history, difficult as it is with the conflicting dates set by the Imperium itself. But no matter, we will account their records from our own sources. Imperial records will be our guide, or should I say, those Imperial records which I have procured will be our guide. I always found them to be of great amusement. They had begun on a small class 54415 planet, on the edge of the galactic arm of the Milky Way. They had first crawled from the primordial ooze as advanced water-based life. To think that glorified fish now wrap the galaxy in an iron fist is enough to burn my central processors to solder. However,
we already know this part already.
Hey, shout out to you, Trazyn the Infinite, for writing this this masterpiece, because this is great. I love the vocabulary that's being used. I love like how it's worded and it's told like it's written story. I wonder if this. No, I was gonna say I wonder if this is like in book form somewhere. You know what I mean? But I'm like, nah. I feel like this is probably the YouTube channel's owner. Again, you guys could.
This is lovely. The voice.
Yeah, the voice. The whole
soothing.
presentation.
It's not nothing that's gonna put you to sleep. It's like very like, let me listen to what he got to say. He got something. Exactly. He got that wisdom.
He got that wisdom.
You know what I'm saying?
He got that knowledge.
He got that knowledge.
You smart.
Yeah,
all right.
This is a good way to put it up. I like this shit.
Yeah, no, this is fire. This is very fire. We're only going to go through about half this. We're going to split up in 2 different parts, just so we can get all the notes, write the information. We do have like a heavy filming schedule right now, so these 40-minute videos, especially with us talking and pausing and trying to make sure that we're actually retaining the information, they end up being like an hour and a half, and I'm like, it's just hour and a half long videos. I'm like, we don't have to do that. We have a couple hour-long videos.
Yeah, we know where y'all leave at. We can see it. Y'all be trying to leave at like 40 because you falling. It's okay.
It's okay. No, but we'll definitely drop this in 2 parts, and it'll be dope. It'll be really dope.
These fish people became baseline primates, class 4 beings. For much of their early existence, the primitives accomplished little. It was their use of tools that separated them from the other animals of creation. From the first moment a cave-dwelling savage struck a porcine variant with a rock, it was all over. Slowly, they invented pottery, the bringer of security, that is fire. It was then that the warp entities had emerged from the void, the first knowledge of the immaterium. The damage from our wars against gods had ripped wounds in the universe. From these wounds came the apparent gods, extremely powerful creatures that bask in the souls of the dead, growing ever in power. The mortals referred to the beings as the Chaos Gods. They were named Khorne, Tzinch, and Nurgle. What are 3 more pathetic void beings against the might of this galaxy?
Damn.
We have killed greater beings before. We may have to do so again. It is at this point that the Eldari learned the secrets of the webway and continued their dominance of the stars. The imperial myth concerning the birth of their god-emperor is as follows. Seeing the inevitable fate of humanity to be consumed by the Chaos Gods, a group of humanist shamans banded together to stop this future. They had devised a plan to save their species from the thirsting gods committing ritualized mass self-annihilation. As the shamans died and their souls entered the warp, the power of the souls overwhelmed the beings that inhabited that dead void. The soul of their soon-to-be emperor was birthed and made manifest in his physical form. I must add here, this is perhaps one of my favorite twists of fate in all of history. Deep within a black stone complex, which crashed on Mars before the rise of humanity, is the Noctis Labyrinth. Within walls built 65 million years ago by us, lies the ancient Void Dragon. Imperial myth tells us that it is believed that the Emperor conquered this dragon on Terra. After this defeat, it was imprisoned beneath Mars for all time. Little do they know, those red-robed clicking iron princes, that their void dragon is a Catan let loose by corrupted slumber codes. I wonder how they would react to the news that its real name is the Eater of Knowledge. The humans began their empire on Terra. Their grasp of technology is slow. They spend much of their time throwing sharpened tree pieces at each other. Terra had a multitude of cultures, each one's god more important than the other. It was during this time that the Chaos Gods had fully awakened. With the abundance of new souls, the Chaos Gods had grown stronger. One human myth is that these events in their early years manifested the gods. Khorne was born in the charnel pits of millions of dead humans. Nurgle vomited into the universe in the wake of the vast catalogue of their illnesses. And Tzinch during the artistic awakening periods of each unique Terran culture. How arrogant to think that the universe would notice their tiny conflicts. Humans had conquered their homeworld. They had experimented with the possibilities of travel through the Immaterium, still unsure of how to harness its power for space travel. They had developed primitive spacefaring capabilities and set off to terraform their solar system. They have always been amusing creatures, thinking themselves masters of the cosmos, even back when fire was their most advanced achievement.
Damn. The shade is crazy.
In essence, they are simple jellyfish, a travesty of nerves that stems from an inferior brain, piloting a suit of bone, wrapped in decaying meat. It is their arrogance that I enjoy so much. They were never meant for the stars, yet they do all to conquer each parsec. They fight amongst themselves more than any enemy. Tranquility makes them squirm. They lived for war.
Facts for no reason.
The humans built colonies throughout their nearest worlds, a slow process due to their primitive spacecraft. They continue to do what they do best, build and breed. Worlds are terraformed and colonized. Sublight travel was their archaic way of colonization, each colony drifting farther from the home world of terror. Overexpansion resulted in loss of communication. It was only a matter of time before this formula would collapse into bedlam and chaos. As the years drifted on, countless interstellar empires emerged, trading throughout the galaxies. Most of these supposed empires bore me. They prosper for such short spans of time. One does not even need to remember their futile existence. The humans furthered their grasp on nature, bending any resources they could find to their greed. Colonies stretched into the vast reaches of solar systems, overextending their empire. The myths of the Emperor continue to grow. It is said the Emperor arrived on Molech and found a portal into the Immaterium. A deal was made with the Chaos Gods for the gift of knowledge of warpcraft, allowing the Emperor to create the Primarchs. The Eldar Empire had grown into the most advanced civilization.
So, sorry, we're gonna get this.
The humans furthered their grasp on nature, bending any resources they could find to their greed. Colonies stretched into the vast reaches of solar systems, overextending their empire. A deal was made with the Chaos Gods for the gift of knowledge of warpcraft, allowing the Emperor to create the Primarchs. The Eldar Empire had grown into the most advanced civilization in the universe. They had achieved the apex of technology, creating their own desires from will alone. Lesser races proved no threat to their domination of the stars. The human gene saw an evolutionary jump. There were sudden appearances of psychers, as they call them, cursed individuals who can draw power from the Immaterium. Humans who developed the navigator gene allowed the first human navigators to make the passage through the warp. The great navigator bloodlines controlled warp travel. The humans continued to explore and colonize all that they found. Treaties were signed with dozens of xeno races. It was truly a golden age for humanity. Technology often gets the better of the primitive species that craft it. The promises of comfort and ease of existence has led to the downfall of dozens of species. It was then that man's greatest creations, their slaves, turned on their masters in force. The cybernetic revolt, as it was once called, started with the men of iron. Anarchy ripped throughout all of humanity. The golden age of humanity ended in brutality. Who knows how many billions lost their lives, or what technology was destroyed in the process?
We know.
Across the stars, another empire fell to time. The Eldar had enjoyed their moment of success. Technology was not their downfall. Their own desires tore them apart. Sheer physical impulses and depravity broke them. Their yearning for lust and pleasure cursed their kind. The being that spawned from their depravity forever changed the course of the stars. It was then that the being known as Slaanesh came to be. The Eye of Terror that came to be from the creation of Slaanesh obliterated almost all of the Eldar. She who thirsts, as some have called Slaanesh, feasted on billions of Eldari souls. Some of the Eldari foresaw the dark future and left their homeworlds behind. The craft worlds were all that was left of them now.
Oh, shit.
Vast, floating cities that are slowly fading away.
Fucking Harley.
As a fan of theatrical renditions of historical events, I find the performances from this era to be especially entertaining. The humans had peaked in their scientific advances. The historical blueprints, or as they are more commonly known, the standard template constructs, became the database of all human technology.
Okay, Age of Strife is where we're going to cut it. Yeah, man. Especially that 14,964, like around that time period, a lot of shit happened. Like I found myself writing the most notes there. Like I forgot about the cybernetic revolt and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. That first timeline, there was just so many different events that it's kind of hard. And I feel like here, him explaining it from a different perspective and not just like an overview, makes me feel like I'm kind of like traveling through with him more so. So I can kind of like, kind of stop off and be like, oh, that's that over there. That's that over there. You know?
Yeah.
Like I said, the Harley Quinn's about to come out. Because I remember we were so just like mystified about like, where the fuck did the Harley Quinn come from? Like, because they were talking about like most of them got wiped out, and then we were stuck on like okay, so 90% got wiped out. There's 10% left, and then they split up, or did they do this or do that? And luckily, we have all the comments and stuff like that. Thank you guys again, back then for helping guide us through everything. The Discord specifically, they don't do Korean hearts in Warhammer timeline. They don't do hearts of any kind. No love, only heresy. What was I gonna? Oh, Age of Strife. Yeah, thank you guys for helping us with all that good stuff. Thank all the Discord members. A lot of people in there. Hold on, actually.
Yeah, give a couple of shout outs while I say something real quick. So the Age of Strife, I want to know if this is the beginning of, when they started the Hunger Games for all the newcomers of the Marines, Space Marines. You know how they start off at the different rankings for the Space Marines? Oh,
when they start separating. And I think we haven't even got to horror. Or wait. No, so yeah, we still got a lot longer to go because right now he's collecting the Primarchs and they still got to get sent off, and then of course heresy still has to happen, and then and then we'll get the we got a long way.
Look for your person.
Sorry.
I'm just and my question though, because they were saying the becoming of the database of the human technology. I'm trying to think if like this when they start programming a little bit before they start moving into getting the Space Marine and shit going on.
See all that stuff. This is what 1496 or maybe like 20,000 BC. So we still got to get all the way to 30,000. Like I said, I think that's where it starts happening. 40,000. We still got half a video left, so Edion. I think that's how you say it. Edion. Constantly posting. Lone Courier 21. Constantly posting. You guys always giving a bunch of information. Demaz is always in it. There's a lot of people now. I'm saying we got like a good 70 people that have joined. Sir Dies a lot. Shout out to you. Professional work. I don't know why I started going down this list of giving shit because now I got to give out.
Nah, keep yelling out more. Keep yelling out more. Keep yelling out more. Yeah. Name out the next three you see. You got
Cheap Soda, Mr. Oogie Boogie.
Hey, shout out to you.
I feel like this is like a raffle or something.
No. You gotta give me two more.
Someone hasn't posted. A dim corner.
Hey,
shout out to you. I see the boomerang little logo you got. Cartoon Network and whatnot.
I hope we ain't butchering your stuff, though.
I feel like I probably am. Okay,
we're gonna keep going.
How many of these I gotta get?
Nah, two more.
James House of Pain. Oh wait, is it House of Pain? I think that's what it was. Yeah, James. Funny stuff all the time. I see you in the YouTube comments. I see you in the Discord. All right.
One last lucky.
Hayden, that Kirby you posted in the Discord when in the middle of the Warhammer was crazy.
Yeah, man. Hey.
And Zentar one. Okay, that's the last one.
We gonna randomly start doing shout outs, bro. We gotta start doing that. Because y'all do support us, man. We gonna do random shout outs, not all the time, but we got y'all. We gotta
Yeah. Especially with like Discord people, YouTube memberships, Patreon, because we are moving into doing this full time. Mackie and Derek work full time. They get off work and they're tired, and you know what I mean. They come down and help me do all this good stuff. You know what I mean?
Constantly growing.
Yeah, doing a lot of good stuff. I do this full time, but I'm very much struggling. I could say that confidently, struggling artist. Right. But things are making a pathway between YouTube, between our comics and stuff like that, traveling conventions, which we haven't really done this year because we've been focused on YouTube. It really means a lot to us. It really, really does. We are on our way to 10,000 subscribers. We are like 9,400, I think. Yeah, so we're getting pretty close, and we plan on dropping a special video and stuff when we do, especially for you Warhammer fans and whatnot. So, all right.
Yeah. Thank you for being with us on this journey. We're going to continue this shit. And thank you for vibing.
All right, y'all. Until next time. Much love. Peace.